these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say, I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go.
It would help if I brought myself in, right? Welcome to the NotBland Show. I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And of course, you know, we're powered by sportsjourney.com and everything Nitro. Man, we're going to have a pretty good show today. Waiting on Brian Lohnes. He should be in about 5 minutes. So we're going to have a good conversation with him, hopefully, about this first quarter of the season. Believe it or not, we are out of the first quarter of the season, and the 4 wide nationals and Charlotte is the beginning of the second quarter of this regular season. First quarter went by really fast, didn't it? I mean, it just seemed to blow right by. I want to say hi to Briar Starr and the Nitro Performance guy. I do have his show posted on my Twitter. That is the Nitro Performance Guide. If you're into numbers and breaking down of numbers and performance, he's your guy. So give him a look. But it's really quick how this first quarter of the season has gone. And to be honest with you, it's been kind of a really fast-paced first part of the season. I think we've seen everything from weather delays to track mishaps that needed to be fixed. We've seen wild weather. We've seen multiple racers win here. And it's actually been a pretty exciting first half of the season. What I am excited about coming up in this 4 wide nationals is that we get Pro Stock Motorcycle back. It's been a long time since we've seen the bikes, and it definitely is going to be very interesting. I don't know how many people have been able to test over this particular lull here since Gainesville. I believe Matt Smith was able to test a little bit. Outside of that, I couldn't tell you who has. So it'll be interesting to see if some people are still starting back at square one. If you remember back from Gainesville, there was supposed to be testing right before the event. Because of weather, that did not happen. And a lot of people in the Pro Stock Motorcycle ranks were debuting brand new bikes. So that's a little bit tough to do, to come out, to be debuting new bikes, and then, not really have the tune-up set to where you would like it to perform well. I think we saw a pretty nice number early from Angie Smith, and then it just kind of fell off there. So that you see the potential in what they have. It's just wasn't able to be consistent with it, right? What's going on, Drag Racing Mayhem? It was, so it'll be interesting to see how all this pans out and who comes in. We know that Gage is likely going to be the one that's, hot, being that he's picking up right where he left off from last year. But it'll be interesting to see who moves forward in all of this and where things land with these individual bikes. And they'll start to get into a rhythm here as they start to do more races coming in. They should be at every event here for the next several races. So they'll start to get in a rhythm here and we'll start seeing bikes start to get dialed in. Drag Racing Mayhem makes a good point. This past weekend, I thought it was some great action last weekend at the MPK right there at Maple Grove Raceway. He was there last weekend. And I tell you, I was able to catch some of the action there from that event, and it's pretty awesome. Alex Laughlin's car is pretty dope. And again, the guy drives pretty much anything. So it's pretty wild to see him out there and racing in that particular series in Pro Mod. I love it though. And I think he's really good in that particular series. His ability to race, and then I think he's doubled up. If you've seen his social media, I believe he's double booked this weekend, so he will not be racing there. Alex won the losers bracket. Cool. I mean, it's the losers bracket, but hey, that's what makes it fun. I kind of like those loser bracket things, winners of the loser bracket. I kind of like that. But he's double booked this weekend. They have an event in Virginia, and he's booked for the 4 Wide Nationals in Charlotte in the I think it's Factory X series. So he won't be at that particular race in Virginia. He'll be in Charlotte. So it's tough. That's a tough break, but I'm sure it's not a big deal. He'll get back after it here and be back on that series, and probably won't have any double books here from here on out, I would think, as they're coming in. So pretty interesting weekend there. I think there was a Division 4 race somewhere. Hold on for a second. Yeah, so it's a lot of racing out there, a lot of good racing out there, and I think Drag Racing Mayhem was saying something about tag on Dana White possibly buying MPK. I think that would be pretty interesting. Be pretty interesting to see that. So we'll see how all that pans out. But again, we are in our second half of the second quarter of the regular season here for the Mission Foods series. We will be at ZMAX Raceway, and the car counts are pretty interesting. And that's a rumor. Okay, rumor. But that would be cool. So the car counts are pretty interesting here. You got 17 top fuelers, so you'll have a bump spot. Funny Car does not have a bump spot. It's 16 as of what I've seen here as of today. Pro Stock is, I believe it's 22. They have Camry Caruso listed, but she's not ready. So I'm assuming that her name was already pretty much booked on the list, and they just didn't remove it. So looks like it's about 22 pro stockers, and Dave Connolly is one of those pro stockers that will be racing here at the 4 Wide Nationals. So that'll be interesting to see him back out there in a pro stock car. And you got 19 pro stock motorcycles. 19. So in at least 3 out of the 4 classes, we have a bump spot. Somebody's going home. And there are somebodies in the 2 other classes that will be going home. A good group of people that will not make the field. So it'll make for an interesting final session. I'm looking forward to that. I know everybody else does too. It is a lot more interesting and nail biting when you come into that last session and there are people that are out on the outside looking in. And it appears, especially in pro stock motorcycle, there's going to be a possibility of some really good cars sitting on the outside looking in, especially with the competition here lately. You got Jerry Tucker, you've got Brandon Foster, you see Iconio even running well. The Quadras are running well. Just so many cars out there right now that are capable of turning on a win light. And the ETs are pretty close. And I'm not sure what the conditions are. I didn't even bother to look at the weather. Maybe some of you have, and you can comment that. But I'm hoping for great weather because usually when there's great weather at that track, the track is really fast. And, it's really a racer's race, a crew chief's race, right? Just trying to get the car down the racetrack and sometimes trying to put up a big number at the same time. So maybe this is the race that we possibly could see the 341 or the 340 run. I really am eager to see them do that here. I know that they're very capable of doing that. Like I said, it seemed like at Gainesville they were trying to dial it back and it was just going faster and faster, which brings me to a point when I look at some of these guys in the funny car ranks. You look at Ron Capps. You look at Matt Hagan. I'll throw in Bob Tasca. Hadn't been as consistent as we would have thought they would have been early, but I really do believe that they're trying some things, trying some different combinations, and trying to advance and seeing what works. And I think here in the next 2 to 3 races, we're going to start to see them hit home runs on whatever it is that they're trying to test out here. Because we all know at the end of the day, it's about making progress. It's about continuing to move forward each and every week. You can't come in with the same stuff that you came in with last year and keep repeating that over and over again. You eventually get caught. And then sometimes you get passed. And when you get caught, sometimes you panic and you're trying to play catch up. And no one wants to do that here in this particular series, because once you start steamrolling out of control, it's over. The lights are out. And usually you can't reel it back in. So I think these guys are trying something. I think they're trying to put something together for that proc rocket. And I really do believe, I think that those particular cars are going to make a real big move here in the next couple of races. I will say in Pro Stock Motorcycle, it's going to be very interesting with all the fake beef that's going on. It's pretty much one-sided. And call it what you may, you know what I mean? I think regardless, any type of competition and any type of rivalry is good for the sport. I don't think the issues are as bad as it seems. Like I said, a lot of people with a lot of new equipment that had no time to really test and really hone that equipment in for the race. So I think here in the next couple of races, we're going to start seeing some competition from the Matt Smith camp. I do think that they have something for Gage. I think it's going to be a lot closer than most people think here. It's just a lot easier for him when he's bringing in something that he's won with and continues to build off of that. They didn't have to change much, unlike other teams. Yeah, JFR funny cars are looking good. John Force got the win for the Pomona race. Wish it could have been in Pomona, but those JFR cars are looking very good. The only car that that's been hit and miss has been Brittany. And I don't know if they're still trying to figure out, because you remember last year they took a step back to advance, right? They didn't want to keep coming up here with the same thing, even though it was working. And it was working quite well because they were pretty much top speed and low qualifier a lot before that. And then you come in and you make a change, which I'm all for making changes, like we talked about. They just haven't been able to be consistent. We see some things out of it, and we're like, okay, there it is. There's the car that we remember. And then at times it's like, oh, what happened here? So a lot of inconsistencies with them. But as far as the two funny cars, those things are running pretty well. And I have to say, John's doing a heck of a job driving the car. Yes, he does. Two of the best reaction time averages of the year. And it's the list that Drag Racing Mayhem has put together is quite phenomenal. But yes, two of the best reaction times of this year come from Proc. And that car's running very well. I mean, as you have seen, it's taken a better car or better reaction time to beat him. And Bob Tasca was able to get that. I know what Proc said, but at the end of the day, it's all an art. And I believe deep staging is an art. Not everybody can do it. And sometimes you got to take a little to get a little. And whether he stuck it in a little deep or not, Bob Tasca, BT3, he was able to turn on that wind light. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. So they are two great cars. I see J.R. Todd continuing to come along. What his start to the season was just incredible. You know, you have everything that could possibly go wrong in the first 3 rounds go wrong, and yet you still get the round wins. And then fourth, you know, the final in eliminations, you put together a home run. And they have been running quite well as well. The competition in funny car is really tight. And then we go to guys like Paul Lee. That was something that a lot of people spoke about. Even Lonnie spoke about that watches this show as well. Paul Lee is going to be very consistent. I think you're going to see a real big maturation process with Johnny Lindbergh, especially with Medlin, being his tutor. Johnny Lindbergh's pretty good tuner, but when you got a guy like Medlin, it's going to help you get to the next level. I'm really enjoying the level of crew chiefing we have throughout all of those, the nitro classes, pro stock classes, but especially the nitro class. We see some new faces that are out there and getting opportunities. And it really, when you look at the performance in both Funny Car and Top Fuel, you're really seeing how good these crew chiefs really are. That's why the numbers are so tight. Speed, numbers, pretty much everybody is making horsepower. Everybody's making pretty solid low ET runs. It's just a matter of making sure that you can put it all together and get it down the racetrack with no issues. Because at the end of the day, if you slip up, it's likely going to be over for you. Because those other guys aren't missing at all. So it is pretty awesome to see the crew chiefing here in the Mission Food series. It's something to, I think it's probably some of the best we've seen in a while. Because there are a lot of good cars. And like I said, the little guys like Paul Lee, you see Terry Haddock. We saw Alex Milinovich come in and run pretty decent, trying to anyway. Lot of guys, Jason Rupert, a lot of guys who don't necessarily have deep pockets going rounds, and that's good to see. That's really good to see, and it means that each and every round, whether it's heavily funded team or a non-heavily funded team, they are going to be able to get down the racetrack and put themselves in a position to be able to get wins. If you didn't watch the show last week, out of 18 opportunities to win, that's with your races and the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasties. There's been 14 different drivers to win just in the first quarter of the regular season. Let that sink in a little bit. 14 different drivers to win in just the first quarter of the regular season. Pretty awesome. It shows the level of competition. And it really shows the fact that life's pretty good in drag racing right now. Life's pretty good in drag racing. That stat provided by Dave W. last week. As I said, supposed to have Brian Lohnes on. I have not heard from him yet. So we're just going to keep rolling. If he pops up, we will get to that. If he doesn't, we'll try next time. But I'm always prepared. So with this 4 wide, like I said, Pro Stock Motorcycle will be there. I am looking, especially, and I'm going to start in Pro Stock Motorcycle, I'm really looking at a lot of the Kelly Clances. I'm interested to see what Ellie does on his bike as they come along. I'm very, very interested to see what Gianna Salinas, did I say that right? Yes. And looking forward to seeing what she does on that bike. I know it's a different feel and a different bike for her. She's been on Suzuki for a while. So that's a whole learning process. And I'm really looking forward to see what the whole Matt Smith team does. Because like I said, they had some moments where they really shined and showed that the performance is there and they have the ability to be there. So that's going to be fun to watch. I'm also interested to see what Steve Johnson does coming out here. I'm really wanting him to be more consistent. Yeah, I know. And that's the whole thing. Drag Racing Mayhem is, it's really just about making sure I'm putting yourself in a striking position, right? You don't necessarily have to finish number one. You don't have to finish with a 100-point or 100-plus point lead. You just need to be within striking distance. And at this rate, with the performance, yes, I agree with you. Until it's proven that he can be beat, he is going to win. You can pick him to win every time until proven otherwise. He's just been that much hundredths faster than everyone else. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in this time off. What was Matt Smith cooking in the shop for these last three weeks here? What has he been cooking in there? What have other teams been cooking? And see what they're going to bring to the table here in Charlotte. Breyer says, I don't even bother posting the regular season points anymore like I used to. Yeah, I get it. I mean, to be honest, like I said, it's just about being in striking distance. As long as you're within striking distance, everything is fine. And you can have an opportunity to reach up, jump up, and in the playoffs and make your move there. And that doesn't mean that you can loaf around in the regular season, because you do have to have a level of consistency coming into the playoffs. Now, for some, Justin Ashley, the level of consistency hasn't seemed to translate over to playoff time. It seems like in playoff time is when things start to fumble around a little bit. And that is tough. That's tough. And you got to find a way to make the regular season translate into the postseason, because there's difficulty. There's something going on when you all of a sudden fall off like that. You know, Bob Tasca had some of those struggles as well. Because with participation countdown, no point to even look at the points till after Maple Grove. True, and I'm over the participation trophy spots. They got to go, and that if you get rid of those now, that ninth, when you got those battles for 8, 9, and 10, they make a difference. There's drama there, and you got the 11th place and 12th place, individuals on the heels of 9 and 10, and possibly being able to bump their way in. It makes for drama, and we're losing that by having these participation trophy spots. Right place at the right time kind of sport. Absolutely. It really is. We've seen the likes of several be just dominant in the regular season and can't seem to find the groove in the postseason. And you see individuals who kind of fumbled around in the regular season have a solid indie race, and that catapults them into the playoffs, and they become contenders. So it's all about being in the right place at the right time. Just remember, Dave Richards will make the playoffs. All I need to say, if he can stay in 11th or 12th, which is likely, being that probably most of the bottom feeders down there do not run every race and only run a handful. If I'm looking, and I haven't looked at the points yet, that's probably the case though. And that's disappointing. That's very disappointing. You should have to earn the right to be there, not just simply, be able to waltz in and get a spot because you showed up at every race. If you make all the qualifying runs, you make the countdown, you could be 20th. Yeah, that's what it seems like, right? I mean, no effort, really. Just be there, and you have an opportunity to have a spot. And that's when it just waters it down, because 11th and 12th really don't matter. They don't matter anyway. So why make it, make those 2 participation trophy spots? Most of those are not very good. That's why they're there. And they won't factor into any type of playoff scenario at all. So, I don't like it. It is still garbage to me. And they can really just get rid of it now. That my kindergarten T-ball league has less participation trophies than the 2024 NHRA. Yeah, it is outrageous. Like I said, I'm not a fan at all. And it waters down the product when we get down to those last 4 races of the regular season, and there are people jockeying for position, and there's, at times both 8, 9, and 10 are going out in the first round away from dropping from 8 or 9 or 10 right out of the top 10. It's just, it kills the drama that we could have with the countdown. In other sports, since we are here, in other sports, the NBA Finals are here. And to be honest with you, the NBA Finals have been awesome. A lot of very good games coming down to the wire. Dave says, hold on, I don't watch other sports at all, hardly. But aren't other leagues like the NBA, NFL, and MLB finding ways to add more teams to the playoffs and wild card options. Yes. So the NBA had their play-in games. Used to be your top like 6. So you'll have the bottom half of the league plays play-in games. So now they take 8 teams now. And it's really top 10 get into play-in games. And here we are. What's up, Caleb? It is. There's some good stuff going on right now. Right? So they take these play-in games. These guys end up getting in. 7 and 8 will get in. 1 versus 8, obviously. 2 versus 7 and on. So they have expanded the playoffs to get these people in. And to be honest with you, right now, we've had some. Don't get me wrong, the games have been good. Even if you're 7 or 8, they have been good. Some of them have not been that great. I thought the Celtics put a whooping on the Heat. It was expected to me. Celtics are the better team, likely your NBA champion. It's really their finals to lose. Their playoffs to lose. The Thunder and the Pelicans wasn't that great of a game at all. I really don't. I have to talk about my Lakers, but I really don't want to have to talk about them because I'm sick and tired of the Nuggets. They just simply have our number. And to be up 20 points, to lose by 1, I'm glad I didn't stay up to watch that because I would have been angry, very angry to stay up that late on the East Coast to watch a blowout be reduced to a 1-point loss that he hits at the end of the game. Murray hits at the end of the game, walk off, shot. It makes me angry. But don't get me wrong. I am not picking the Lakers to win that series at all. Just when you have an opportunity to win a ball game in that fashion, you should. And they didn't. The Knicks are playing good ball against the 76ers. You'd think with Embiid, and Embiid has played quite well nursing an injury. And they just don't seem to finish. And I think although the Knicks team is not, I don't believe is as talented as the 76er team, they want it more. And it's showing. That's why they lead the series 2-0. Going back to the Lakers, Ham with his rotation calls are not very good at times. And I know people like to blame him for that. But look, man, you can't have AD and LeBron being your bell cows and Rui Hachimura. Austin Reeves has been pretty consistent. D'Lo has been, I show up and then I disappear. AD, I think, had no points in the fourth quarter. And people talk about that, but the role players are not doing their job. I looked at the Suns in their game. Same issue. Magic as well. Same issue. Not enough role players playing consistent basketball. You can't have your stars carrying the team, and then when you look around, and I'm talking about starters that are in your starting 5, and they have their 1 for 9, 2 for 12. That's not going to work in playoff scenario against more complete teams. We're seeing some really good basketball here in this first round, though. We've got games starting tomorrow. Well, there is games tonight. Looks like 7:30 will be Timberwolves Suns. Clippers Mavericks will be at 10 p.m. And then 8:30 we'll have Bucks Pacers on NBA TV. The other ones are on TNT and True TV. Thursday we'll have some games. It'll be Knicks 76ers at 7:30. and Cavs Magic at 7. Lakers at 10 on Thursday. And the Wednesday games are Thunder, Pelicans, Celtics, Heat. And I think I'm taking both of those right there. Thunder and Celtics are likely going to win those series. Let's look at the comments really quickly. Dave W says, so if you have 16 Pro Stock cars that run all races, run 6 of them in a special race within a race to earn the 10th spot. I like that. That's just like the NBA play-in games. It's a play-in race, right? It's a race-in race. There you go. A race-in race. I like that. That creates more drama. That makes the regular season something, right? It also makes drama for that 10th spot. Because you want to have participation trophies, then fine. You can do that, and then you can have this race within a race to earn the last spot. My question is, would the 10th place car also have to be a part of that specialty race? I think you're saying that it would be. NHRA seems to be loving these race within a race things lately. Let's give the Saturday crowd a Maple Grove something to watch. Agreed. I like it. Pink's All Out used to do something similar, a defend your position round or a race your way in round. Yep, they sure did. That was a pretty fun show. Drag Racing Mayhem says, I still want to know what was wrong with the first countdown format with the countdown to 1 that was the best one that they got rid of after a year. Yeah, I'm not sure what was wrong with that. I thought that was pretty cool. By a certain time, you get eliminated as you go. And I thought that was pretty good. Could you expand on it? Probably. And I get it coming out of the COVID thing, right? Like, I get what they were trying to do. But now I don't believe that it's necessary. Dave W says, Force got hurt and it ruined it. Yeah. Yeah. It's better than what we have now. I agree. I think it would be pretty awesome. He says, then again, the regular season still means nothing. Might as well just run the 6 cars at Gainesville because we all know all the full-time cars. Yeah. So Dave W says, yes, 10th has to defend his position. Okay. I like that. Scott, thanks for tuning in, man. He says, I agree with Dave. It makes the playoffs a playoff. Agreed. He said, Pro said, no thanks. Yeah. I do like that idea. That creates some drama because we need it. It needs to be. That's why they did this for the NBA playoffs. It creates drama. And we had that in those play-in games. Those play-in games were very good. Very good games. They have been since they implemented that. I do think we see better competition as we get along. I think some of these 7th and 8th place teams have the ability. With some of these teams, they are a little young, and that doesn't help you. And when you're having your 8 and you're having to face number 1, and those number 1 teams are number 1 for a reason. So that I don't see any necessary upsets there. But it really created drama there. He says, and we need to market like NBA does. Yes, agreed. Make it something. And I like what they are doing with the Too Fast, Too Tasty. Like me and Monday Morning Racer say on the Power Hour, it is progressing. It may be slow, but changes are being made and they're moving forward. It's just taking a little time. We'd like for it to go faster, of course. Drag Racing Mayhem says the point of the countdown was to add drama, yet they somehow managed to make it less drama Only NHRA could do this. Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the big thing that everybody wants to fix. And I 100% agree with that. Everybody wants to fix that. Dave W says if 10th has to defend the position, it would make the points matter. You want to be the top 9 in the points if gives you a bubble to follow again. Yes, I agree, because see, now I don't want to be that 10th place car, because if I have to go in this play-in race or race within a race here, this race in race, I could lose and be out because I was sitting in 10th. And, you know, sometimes when you're in 10th, you start to lose it a little bit. There's a reason why you're in 10th. You fumble in a little bit. Somebody might get hot coming into that race within a race and knock you out. So, yeah, I agree with you. Dave says you don't want to have to race your way in. You want to point your way in. Indeed. Barry Racing Mayhem says NHRA needs F1 MPK style marketing. I like this marketing. This is what we've been trying to push, and me and Caleb have been talking about this for a long time. We need trading cards. I will, on the next show, I promise you, I have a trading card around here somewhere. I believe it's Mike Dunn that I have. And it's like a Yankees card or something like that. We need those things. You talk about getting to know your drivers. That's just another way. Everybody else has trading cards. Like, why can't we do that? What are we waiting for? Scott says the NBA is a machine. It really is. It really is. I do commend the NBA of recognizing the staleness of some of the things that they are doing and making adjustments to the format, especially with the All-Star game. I think they've got to make an adjustment in the game itself. Scoring almost 200 points is a joke. I didn't even watch the All-Star game. I like all the fun skills challenge stuff. They've really reinvented a lot of it, having skills be a part of it. You know, it's called a skills challenge for a reason. And, you know, the weaving in and out, the dribbling, the passing, some of those things, it's pretty awesome to add that. Really showcases the skill of some of these players in those particular challenges. Dave, Drag Racer Mayhem says, okay, I didn't know 10th was defending. Yes, 10th would be defending. How do you do it with uneven cars? Then you just have 3. You just have a three car race off if it's uneven. Indeed. I'm telling you, it would change the game. Dave says run the ladder just like an odd number of cars would be. 10th place gets the first round bye run. Got it. Nitro Performance Guy says, and a better game. Indeed. NHRA really cheapened out on that game. Dude, don't get me started on that, man. Look, I wanted something like NASCAR has. Not a simulator, for sure. Or I say a simulator, not an arcade. Yeah, there's a lot more that could be done. And then my problem is this. So we're in the day and age now where you can make updates. Madden does it week after week sometimes in the regular season. So why can't we do that? Update the game. It can be done. It's not a bad basis. Just some adjustments need to be made. Caleb says, bring back the NHRA Pit Crew Challenge. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. It would showcase the skills of a lot of these young men and women on these crews. Because especially now with the turnaround times that they have to deal with at some events, whether it's weather or whether it's just simply due to live TV, it's tremendous that these cars go back out there and they actually go A to B without, grenading every single time because of how quickly they have to put these things back together and take them apart. Breyer says it really is amazing to look at the rankings from other sports to what motorsports gets. Not that I really care about that part, but it definitely interesting to look at. It is. Dave W says, call the specialty race a Maple Grove at Maple Grove, the Mission Foods on a Mission Challenge, and run it during qualifying so you are at the event and don't even know if you're going to be in the countdown. That would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. And he says, as the countdown starts. Yep. I think that would be the drama doing that would be incredible. So they took NHRA till just a few races ago to start posting highlights, trading cars we might have in 2055. You know what, though? I think what's going to push this a lot faster is Mission Foods' involvement. Their social media game is second to none. And the fact that as their Mission Foods Twitter responds, they respond. Like, how many sponsors respond to people, media, fans, when they are added? Not too many. It's pretty awesome. Drag Racing Man says the game is so bad, no updates could fix it. Yeah, I know console was really struggling. Console was really struggling there. But the NFL draft is coming up. I don't know your respective team or who you like, who you root for. As you know, here I cover the Commanders. It's going to be a fun draft. I think it's going to be probably one of the best drafts we've had in a long time. We all know at the top here, Chicago is likely going to pick Caleb Williams. That should be the pick. I still am of the notion that I don't trust Chicago until they make the pick, because Chicago is, they always find a way to snatch away defeat from the jaws of victory. And until they make this pick, I don't believe that they can do the right thing. Caleb makes a good point here. I agree with you 100% here. If they get Marvin Harrison Jr. with what they have, and I understand how raw Anthony Richardson is, but I thought they did a pretty good job before he got hurt of utilizing him and utilizing his skill set quite well. I would like to have seen him use his body less, though. I hope Cam Newton talked to him about that. He's a big guy, just like Cam. I just think you need to use your body less as a quarterback. I understand you have the ability. You shouldn't, though. Oh, yeah. I mean, what has he done? What has he done, really? I mean, he's kind of screwed the pooch the last couple of years. They've been fortunate to be where they are. Minshew Mania was interesting. I do think they would have been quite competitive as well with Anthony Richardson. That dynamic there, when you look at their backfield, if you add a person like Harrison Jr. to the mix, there's a lot of I've got to pick my poison type deal, because we know that Anthony Richardson can get that man the ball. Now you got to pick your poison. You have a three-headed monster, including your quarterback at the running game. That really adds something to them. In a division, I believe that is still you can still come out of that division and have a wild card spot. I think Houston's the team to beat, obviously. I don't think Jacksonville is who we think they are. We're going to find out this year. I'm not 100% sure they're who we think they are. But the Colts have an opportunity to knock some heads and be able to be a part of the conversation if done correctly. Drag Race and Mayhem says, in NFL, funny how Jim Harbaugh hyping up J.J. McCarthy only to not pick him. Of course, he's not picking him, obviously. Some coaches are going to take care of their quarterbacks, and I don't fault him for that. I do think J.J. McCarthy is better than people are giving him credit for, and I know his stock is kind of growing as we roll into this NFL draft here, but I do think he's better than most. Do I think he's a day one starter? I'm not sure. I think he has some work to do. And to be honest, they didn't ask him to do much there, right? They relied on a running game. He has every tool to be able to make the throws. I just don't think that he's one of these quarterbacks that you're going to put in day one and let him run. I don't think that's his game there. Caleb says, Caleb Williams, future bust. Heard it here first. Kid can't run around like that, run around like he did at USC. When you look at the tape, Caleb, I agree with you on that. There is a lot of off-schedule plays that he's made, and he threw more wobbly balls than Eli Manning. I think he has all the intangibles, but if they can't find a way to utilize his run set along with his ability, along with a little of pocket play, I don't know how this is going to work out. And with a guy like him, this is the problem that you have. And I think this has kind of been a Kyler Murray problem as well. Those guys' clock is accelerated, and sometimes they feel like they need to bail out of a pocket and make an off-schedule play when it really wasn't necessary. And can you coach that out of him to slow the clock down, trust what's in front of him, and make the throw from within the confines of his protection? Only fleeing when you know that I've got either A, someone coming free, or B, one of my offensive linemen on this particular play is getting manhandled, and I need to get out of the way. We've seen a lot of these types of players, for no reason at all, bail out, loop around, trying to make an off-schedule throw, and it just simply doesn't work out. Usually, it's picked off in this league. So I do agree with you on that. I'm not 100% sold on his capabilities. He says this the grown man's league where 300-pound dudes run 4.6. Yes, 100%. Who is a number 2 off the board? Jaden Daniels. There is a small percentage, though, that it could be Drake May. I don't have a problem with either one of those quarterbacks. I do have a problem, though, with Drake May. And people try to say, well, Jaden Daniels had the same thing. No, look at the tape. This man, Jaden Daniels, threw sideline balls like he was standing right there and just dropped it into the receiver's hands. And I'm talking about tight sideline throws. May missed a lot of wide open throws. His guy's streaking down the middle of the field, running to the corner pocket, and he's thrown the ball 8, 9, 10 yards deeper, overthrowing a wide open receiver that's not going to be touched, is going to walk into the end zone. Me, if I'm Washington, I'm taking Jaden Daniels. I think he is a lot better than a lot of people are saying that, well, everybody under Caleb Williams is suspect. I think Caleb is suspect. I think there's a lot of people under him that are not getting enough credit. I think Jaden is better than Caleb. I think both May and J.J. McCarthy are top 10 worthy if you need a quarterback. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are like, well, Michael Penix is a second rounder. He could be, but if you're desperate for a quarterback, I'm not against him. I think he's the sleeper of all the quarterbacks that are named with the rest of these top prospects. And I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. Maybe a third rounder, but definitely not a second rounder. Scott says, I agree. And Drag Racer Mayhem says McCarthy greater than Williams. I agree. I think McCarthy doesn't get a lot of credit because he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. But when he was asked to make those throws, he did. And I hate the criticism when they say, well, look at what ex-quarterback had to throw to. He still had to get him the ball. It doesn't matter how athletic and fast these dudes are at the wideout position. You still got to deliver the football. That's what you look at on tape. I think a lot of this stuff sometimes with quarterbacks is just overanalyzing way too much. Caleb says kid was playing against future Uber drivers. Agreed. Like I said, me personally, the Bears should have stuck with Justin Fields. Just saying. Dre Racer Mayhem says, remember Patrick Mahomes with a 7th pick. For some reason, the best quarterbacks are never the top picks. Tom Brady wasn't even in the first round. Yeah, he was way down the line. Like a career backup is probably what they would have thought. But yeah, I do like Jaden Daniels at 2. Before we get out of here, I'm really interested to see where Brock Bowers goes. I know a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Colts. That's not a bad spot. That's not a bad spot at all. And man, I think that would be a pretty darn good tight end. I think Dallas Goedert was the last great tight end. That would be pretty awesome, but who's throwing Neighbors the ball? That matters. That matters in this league. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will be on Thursday. Will be your first round. It's going to be a fun top 10 picks there. Bears got 2 picks in the first round. Atlanta picks 8th. Tennessee 7th. Giants 6th. Chargers 5th. Arizona Cardinals 4. Patriots 3. And then, of course, you have the Jets at 10. Very interesting stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't have Brian Lohnes. We'll hopefully have him sometime later. We thank you so much for listening to this show and watching and hanging in there with me. I appreciate it. It's part of live TV, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Come on over to the Power Hour tonight. We're going to have Camry Caruso and Jeff Taylor on that show. I'll be over there handling that. Again, this has been the NotBland Show, powered by SportsJourney.com and Everything Nitro. I'm your host, Duchenne Bland. And until next time, we're out of here.